A striker in football has many responsibilities on and off the pitch, but above all, they need to score goals. Strikers can come in all shapes and sizes. Lethal finishers like Kane, elite poachers like Isak, viral sensations like Zlatan, but recently, someone has been breaking goal-scoring records like never before. Erling Haaland is only 24 years old, but has already registered over 250 goals in under 350 career games. When you think about the sheer goal-scoring ability and longevity of someone like Messi and Ronaldo, it feels like they can't ever be touched. But in terms of goal-scoring alone, Haaland has to be in the same, if not his own discussion. While the sample size is still small, Haaland's actually on track to become the highest goal-scorer in European footballing history. Haaland has risen to the highest heights of global football in just a matter of years, but there have always been signs he's destined for greatness. Season after season, the Norwegian has smashed through hurdles and records, and now has numerous Premier League titles, golden boots, and other decorated awards. But with all the success has come a barrage of criticism and hate. Many seem to fixate on Haaland's technical ability, or talent, to discredit him, which poses the question, what is talent? How can someone as good as Haaland even be in the position he is without talent? Is it hard work? Is it his team and environment? Is Haaland actually one of the best strikers in world football, or is he just a freak of nature in the right place at the right time? A great way to look at a striker's value is their efficiency. Scoring goals is great, but can you do it consistently? Some good strikers can register and perform when they're playing well and playing with momentum. Better strikers can be marked out of a game and take the one chance presented to them. The greatest strikers seem to score at will and have an inevitability about their way to find the back of the net. Here are the 30 top goal scorers in the 21st century and their goals to game ratios. Son seems like an electric finisher, but in perspective only scores 0.37 goals a game. Strikers like Henry and Eto'o manage to score nearly once every 2 games. Some forwards like Cavani and Gomez have surprising efficiency, managing around 0.55 goals a game. Kane and Suarez are some of the most prolific scorers in recent times. But then, as usual, you have 2 players who manage to be in a league of their own in what feels like every statistic. In over 2,300 career games, Messi and Ronaldo have scored 0.81 and 0.77 goals a game respectively. Mind-blowing. Untouchable. Well, almost. Because Erling Haaland is actually averaging an all-time 0.82 goals a game. In just over 350 career games, Haaland has netted over 250 times, solidifying himself as the most efficient goalscorer in footballing history. If you watch Haaland play a game of football, there's an 82% chance he'll score. Oh, and there's a pretty good chance he'll score more than once. The same 30 players in the last graph are also some of the best hat-trick scorers of all time. Drogba, Dzeko and Rooney were regular hat-trick scorers. Players like Huntelaar and Higuain thrived off the momentum of scoring once, scoring hat-tricks numerous times a season throughout their careers. Lewandowski goes under the radar as one of the best scorers we've ever seen. But as you'd expect, Messi and Ronaldo have scored over 100 combined career hat-tricks, scoring them more than once every 20 games. But the most frequent hat-trick scorer in the world? Of course, the Norwegian. But this time, it's not even close. Haaland has somehow scored 23 hat-tricks by the age of 24, meaning he's scoring one every 14 games. He already had 2 hat-tricks in back-to-back games this season, followed by a brace. People will say what they want about his service, system and team, but Haaland has already proved he's one of the best strikers of all time, and if he continues to break records and reinvent football the way he is at the moment, he might even retire on the same level as the greats. But like everything, with greatness comes criticism, and Haaland has been anything but immune to the harsh judgment of the fans, the press and the institution. In fact, just the other day, the Premier League champion was ranked 5th in the Ballon d'Or rankings. While that seems like a respectable achievement, is it really the case that there's 4 better footballers on the planet than Haaland right now? With the utmost respect to Dani Carvajal and the season he had, I know who I'd rather have on my team. The snub in 2023 was even worse. Haaland had Messi trumped in most of the major categories, and even though Messi made history and completed football by winning the World Cup, does his season in the MLS really match up with the treble-winning, Premier League goal-scoring, record-breaking season that Haaland had? It seems to be a consensus that the Ballon d'Or has become more of a momentum and PR-influenced award rather than a best player or season one in recent times, but it does seem like some fantastic players are getting fleeced of the opportunity to have the ultimate reward for their talent and hard work. But Haaland's always in the discussion for these awards anyway, so people have actually taken to other areas of his game to criticise him. Haaland's been bashed for his general skill set, performances against big teams, and even goal droughts. At this point, it's almost like Haaland is suffering from the success of being so good at such a young age. But it's ironic that all the criticism and judgment almost highlights how good he is, because he's being held to the standards he's already set for himself throughout his career. But when people start commenting on his lack of talent and natural ability, that's when I'm really confused. I mean, Haaland's one of the most naturally gifted players in current football. He stands 6'4", with incredible athleticism and strength. He's got a top game speed of 36 kilometers an hour and one of the most powerful shots in the world. Not to mention being able to get 7'6" into the air while horizontal. All this dialogue poses the question, what actually determines talent in football? By definition, talent is natural aptitude or skill. Quite a vague one, but there has to be more to it than that. Aptitude almost infers that one's talent is a natural possession, and in this case it seems to be a way to take away from one's hard work, environment and development. The massive rise in the popularity of statistics has divided football fans between ones that love using stats and data to evaluate teams and players, and ones that hold the eye test and feel and watching a player above all else. Of course, there's no right way to follow and enjoy football, but a balance of both is crucial when deciding whether a player is talented or not. But how can someone of Haaland's calibre even accomplish what he has without talent? He might not glide across the pitch like Hazard did, or be as technically nuanced as Neymar, but just because his game doesn't cater to the requirements of the most aesthetically pleasing footballer, it doesn't make his traits or skills any less talented or effective. Personally, I think talent in football is a combination of how a player can use his natural ability, game IQ, hard-working training and his relationship with his peers to be as effective as possible and help his team win. And going off that definition, Erling Haaland might be one of the most talented players we've ever seen. But then again, that's just my opinion. Haaland may be one of a kind in the footballing world, but all this argument actually reminds me of someone who's received similar treatment amidst their climb to the top of their respective sport. Over in America, Giannis Antetokounmpo is a Greek-Nigerian basketball player who has basically accomplished everything you can on the basketball court. 2-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Finals MVP, an NBA champion, and a 9-time All-Star. Giannis is undisputably one of the best basketball players in the world. Going by the Greek Freak, Giannis, much like Haaland, has otherworldly athleticism and uses it to dominate his sport. But when times get hard, it seems to be used as his Achilles heel by the media and fans to discredit him. Giannis gets criticised for having no bag, a term that would translate to a footballer having no skills or technique, basically a slam for being technically inferior to the point that it's led to team defeat and struggle. But if you really think about it, it doesn't make any sense. The whole idea of team sports is that no player has to be as well-rounded as possible. Some of the most iconic players are notorious for being extremely slow, one-footed or small, yet still rising to the highest heights of the game. Take Kante and Kroos for example, two elite midfielders. On paper they're completely different, but it doesn't make either player inferior for not having the same attributes as one another. The great thing about football is how many different builds and play styles can all excel and benefit their team, even in similar positions. The vast range of profiles and skill sets make football one of the most unique and interesting sports to watch. Because of this, footballers are rarely expected to be able to do absolutely everything, technically and physically, on the football pitch. So why do players like Haaland and Giannis face this agenda when they underperform? The only reasonable answer I can come to is jealousy. Every fan, and I'm sure the Man City ones will agree, want a player like Haaland on their team. He's knocked out over 15 teams in his career, scored against basically every goalkeeper he's ever faced, and almost certainly sent millions of young football fans to bed crying. Messi and Ronaldo, two of the greatest footballers of all time, are also subject to the most criticism and hate. When you are that good, your whole life is studied under a microscope, to the point where the tiniest slip-up will be exaggerated for the sake of a clickbait article title or a podcast episode's talking point. But the scary thing is, Haaland's still getting more talented day by day. At Dortmund and beforehand, his predatory instincts and pace would let him play in a counter-attacking style and still dominate. But since joining Pep and City, he's taken his game to a whole new level. On paper, someone like Haaland is the opposite of a traditional Guardiola player, but his positioning and link-up play have allowed him to be the first name on the team sheet while still elevating his teammates' games to the highest level. He's ever becoming more well-rounded and polished. It makes you forget that he's only 24 years of age. Talent, despite having a textbook definition, is actually a really subjective term, especially in football where players can have such special and unique skill sets. But talent can actually come from any area of the game. Anything that's a beneficiary to your team on the football pitch can be considered a talent, and natural skill can be so much more than being able to do step-overs and rainbow flicks. But even if Haaland was the clunky robot he gets labelled as, scoring that amount of goals and winning the trophies he has is almost impossible to do without an abundance of talent. It's no coincidence that one of the greatest teams of all time was finally able to break their Champions League curse and win the treble after the signing of a certain striker. I guess anyone that takes a sport as popular as football by storm is guaranteed to receive never-ending agendas and hate. If anything, it just reinforces how good of a player Haaland actually is. Only time will tell how high he manages to get, but there really might be no limit to where Erling Haaland's talent can take him.